Hey, how you guys doing? With Cyberpunk now out and the buggy mess that it is, I thought I'd go over a couple of mods that you should definitely add that will either add some customization to your key bindings, help with some performance. All right, so in the description down below, there's going to be a link to my Google Drive, and that Google Drive will have these 5 documents in it, as well as a Cyberpunk Tweaker. Now, it's important to know that the Cyberpunk Tweaker is an executable, and it will throw a false positive on any antivirus you have. But this tweaker, if you don't trust to get it from me, I perfectly understand that. There is a Cyberpunk tweaker that you can go to Nexus Mods and get it yourself, and I'll put a link in the description down below. But all it is, it's the same thing. But again, if you feel more confident getting it here, by all means, go get it there. With these mods, now you can go out and get these mods yourself. And the mods are the hidden graphics with increased FOV, mouse sensitivity, zoom sensitivity, and resolution scale limit. The other mod is better controls. It adds more customization options. Disable WASD as far as double tapping all those to do your dodging. This will now set it to a single button tap. There's another one too that it's slow walking that I've added as well to it. Now you can go out here and get these 3, but nobody's really combined them all into one yet, and I've spent all day today combining them all into one, tested it out, everything works. So this will probably be the best bet to get the best of all 4 of those mods, really, because again, slow walking is not included in this list. Navigate to your Steam folder, so it'll be program x86, program files x86, Steam apps, common, Cyberpunk. Once you're in this folder, go into your R6 folder, into your config folder, and you need to copy this file, and this file. Copy that and save it into a folder on your desktop. Okay, so now with that out of the way, you also need to go into your settings folder. Now there's going to be a options.json folder in here. Don't touch this one. This one stays here. Don't move it. All right, then you go into the platform, PC, and you need to copy this one and save it as a backup. So now that you have all that stuff backed up, what we're going to do is I'll actually go through and do all this with you. Just right click, download, and download. Now you're going to get these options if you're in Google Chrome. Just click keep. They're XML files. Download, keep, and then we're going to do the options.json. Download that one. Okay, so now we have all 3 of these done. We'll show them in the folder, and these are the files in question. So with all that open, what you're going to go do is go back into your Cyberpunk folder, R6 config, and you're going to copy your input context, user mappings, and actions. Just these 3. And you need to right click copy. I'm not going to do this because the game's actually running right now, but you'll just do that and then paste them in here. It'll say you sure want to overwrite these, just say yes. Once that's done, go into your settings folder. Again, do not touch this one. Go platform, PC, come back to the folder, the ones you just downloaded, and drag and drop this one in there too. It'll say you want to overwrite it, just say yes. Now with that done, that portion of the mods are done. We'll go in through setting up the key bindings once we go into the game, but this portion of it's done. The only other thing that you'll need to do is you need to go back to the root of your folder, go into bin, x64, and you're looking for this executable. This is the executable you need. Do not go to this executable. This is just the launcher. So make sure you go into the bin folder, x64, Cyberpunk. Okay, with that done, we have that Cyberpunk tweaker that we downloaded. You're going to left click and hold, drag it over to the Cyberpunk tweaker, and let go. When you do, it's going to bring up this menu. Now, these menus are a bunch of hidden graphical options that you can toggle on or off. The ones that I would recommend to disable is if you have a 1000 series card, a 1050 Ti, 1050, 1060, 1070, 1080, 1080 Ti, go through all of them and disable this async compute, because the 1000 series cards are horrible with managing that. So just shut them off, and all you got to do is just double click it and turn them off. Now you'll notice too that on mine I have all this ray tracing stuff turned off. The 1000 series card don't do ray tracing, and even if I go into the game, the options kind of grayed out for me. So you don't necessarily need to worry with this. I just wanted to see what would happen if I did it, but I mean, again, it didn't work for me regardless, so this is kind of pointless. You don't have to necessarily uncheck all these, but just uncheck all the rendering options that are anything that's async compute. Make sure you deselect those. Some of these you could play around with too. This one I disabled. I was just trying to kind of going through it to see what would give me the best frame rate. I actually haven't tested this 100% out yet, but just keep in mind, the more stuff that you shut off, the one thing I can vouch for is this use skinning LOD, as well as any of these async compute ones, you can shut off and it will not affect your game. Your game won't crash. Just make sure you shut off all of the async compute ones. Just keep in mind that as you go through this and disable any of them that you want to disable, I would do one at a time. Go into your game. Game seems fine. You can exit the game, go back out here, toggle another one off. If you toggle too many of them off right at once and then go into it and something crashes, then it's going to be like you have to turn them all back on and then go through the process of doing one at a time, so you kind of know which one it is that necessarily crashed your game. Once you're done, now I don't know if I try to save this. Yeah, it'll say I can't save my modified file because my game is running right now. So you got to make sure the game's not running. And then once you do, it'll just say all settings applied. You can close it out at that point if you want. Okay, so now that portion of it's done. Let's actually go into the game. All right, so once we're in the game now, you can go to settings. And if we go to keybinds, you'll notice that you have more options. And it'll kind of have these not localized because they're essentially parts that we've added to it. So they're not part of the original game. But if you want to do a quick save, like I said, there's a quick save for F5. You can go down further and you'll see a bunch of these. So for example, I want to be able to go into my menu, open up my hub menu with tab. I don't want to do tab or holding tab to do scans. I hate doing that. Actually, the scan to hold, I shut off, and my scan toggle, I just put on my mouse because I didn't like that I had to kind of reach up there to do that. I'd rather, usually a lot of games when they're inventory based, tab is inventory, so it was kind of a natural progression. Okay, so dodge. Dodge you could kind of set however you want. It necessarily doesn't matter because it's going to be alt. In the mod, it's alt. You can go through, if you're comfortable going into your user mappings INI file and finding dodge and changing that to a key that you would prefer. That's up to you. Your slow walk by default, I think this will say slash. I just changed it to my mouse button 5. So if I want to slow walk in the game, I just press mouse button 5. There's a bunch of different options that they'll add now. The other thing too is that by default, every selectable anything is F. A lot of games do E. I mean, if you're used to BRs, F is kind of like the thing for BRs. So you might prefer it that way. I wanted to do E, so your select choice right here is E. So I set mine up that way. Now, once I select E, my brain dance or my cyberware function will go away. So you have to make sure that you set that, and I just set my cyberware systems to F. The only thing I would recommend doing is checking your weapon wheel, because weapon wheel by default is alt. So you would tap alt to obviously pull up your weapon, and you would double tap it to put it away. I've actually changed mine to V because alt is now my dodge button. So weapon cycle, just put it on V, and then you can do it that way. Or, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that stuff still works too. But as far as you want to holster it, double tap V. If you go into your graphic options, you'll actually notice in all of your graphic options, there's an extra tab because everything will also have a psycho mode on there. So if you would like to tweak this more and see if you could absolutely 100%, if you have a 3000 series card or anything else, you can go through here and psycho out every single setting you want. And there's added options in here, but you can go through and do all that if you would like to do. this is all going to be like a preference on how you choose to do it. The other part will be your field of view. So you'll notice too that the field of view before was 100 and that was the max. Now, obviously you could take this thing all the way up to 150. I wouldn't do it. It looks like shit, but that's up to you. 120, I'm fine with 120. But again, these are going to highly be just kind of what your preference is and what your game is capable of running. You can go through all your zoom sensitivities, all of your mouse sensitivity, as well as your zoom sensitivity. It used to go up by 1% or up by 5%. Now it goes by 0.1%. So all of them are very fine-tuned now. So either you can crank that up however you want, or you can adjust it. Everything is off of a 0.5% basis now. So that's just kind of how you would like to do it. It's up to you. Once you're in the game, let's turn this down a little bit. So once you're in the game, again, now I can hold my mouse button 5. This is kind of sprinting around. Now my mouse button 5, this will put me into a walk. So now I can just hold the button on my mouse and do the walk this way. If I let it go, then I'm going to start sprinting. Also, with me doing this now, if I am going strafing left or right and I just want to do my dodge, then I can just tap my Alt key and then I'll do my dodges that way. Instead of trying to have to double tap WASD, you can hold WASD and just tap Alt, and then that will actually put you however you want to be. V will equip your weapon. Double tapping it will go away. But there you guys go. If you have any questions or anything else, feel free to leave them. Again, I'll make sure that when you go into the Google Drive mod that you follow along with the README file and you paste everything how you need to paste it, and you guys should be good to go. All right, you guys, that is it. That's going to do it for me. I hope this helps you out. If it does, smack like, throw me a subscribe. I appreciate it. You guys have yourselves a fun time trying to explore Night City without it being a glitchy mess. Enjoy.